Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we're live. Okay.
Oh, we're not live. Are we live?
We are live. So, guys, it was such a busy week. We're like last minute, like, oh wait, we forgot to add something.
Wait,
so
yeah, let's. Okay, I'm just gonna. There,
right,
I got
Karen's
a link.
doing that. She's added it to her. Boy, we are less than 3 weeks out, really, from IX North America. So,
Thank you. Yes.
Carly, if you want to pop that up, it's not too late. It is going to be the event of the season. So, so please register. Use the code IX30 or Exchange 30 to get 30% off the registration. Be there or be square. I'm telling you.
Yes, thank you very much for that. I mean, it is going to be such an exciting event. Everybody I talk to is really jazzed. The talks, by now we've got most of the session titles and descriptions in, and they're fantastic. I'm going to start to be able to look at people's presentation decks, shortly, but the content so far looks really great. So of course I'm excited about that, but
yeah, I'm hearing so much buzz. Everybody I've talked to, I was actually on a call with someone last week, who was about all of the brands that they were talking to of like, we'll just meet you at IAX. So
yeah, let me tell you, I mean, like, hands up to all of the partners that are speaking, because many of them, whether they came in through Call for Speakers or whether they have sponsorship deals with us, they, have gotten the memo that people really appreciate when they bring their brand partners onto the stage. So there are brands everywhere on this agenda, not just, speaking solo, but speaking with their partners. And the partnership to me would be one of the big themes this year. Is just there's so much great happening, and brands are willing to talk about it, which is, anyway, all good stuff.
Well, and this particular was, a large CPG brand. They're just sending their whole team, basically. It seems like so lots of good stuff happening. And of course we also have the Wire workshop and happy hour, Karen.
Yeah, exactly. So, this, I know it's always a highlight for me personally. Always has been when I was just coming to IIX as an individual, but the Wire happy hour the night before the event, which is always a sellout thing. So Carly will share the link to the Wire landing page for special events, but it's just a great way to kind of feel that fellowship of people that are supporting women in research in particular. So we're so happy, once again, that this is coming to our scene and in our area. But also this year, Kristen Luck is going to be presenting a workshop while we're all setting up in the exhibit hall for North America. We have a room set aside for Wire's use, and Kristen will be presenting a workshop on volatility as opportunity, strategic leadership for uncertain times. So if there was ever a great time for that workshop, the day before a lot of learning, hats off to Kristen for pulling this together. So excited for it. That one, I'm sure will sell out as well. So
yeah. Now, and I think this week is a really good example of why, because good Lord, there's so much happening. So
there is a lot happening, and connecting it to some of the talks, there are some national organizations that are coming. We're going to have a speaker from the American Medical Association. We're going to have somebody from the National Retail Federation. So we have some national organizations coming together, and they will be talking about some of the disruption that they're experiencing. So it's going to be a very interesting time to kind of get the pulse of some of the organizations that are actively in our ecosystem. And of course, Insights Association has a spot and SMR has a spot. So we're bringing those associations to the stage. Insights Career Network has a panel. They'll also have a room where people can meet, and they will be facilitating some opportunities to chat if you are a networker. I mean, there's just so much going on at North America this year. It's going to be epic. I'm psyched.
And the competition.
And the competition. I know. I'm so excited. Have a planning call a little bit later today with our friends from AcWest. So I'm just very excited to have that conversation again as well. I know we talked about that last week, but if you weren't listening last week, AcWest has gotten on board as a sponsor. They are the reason why, we're going to be able to make that, $10,000 check happen for one of our, for not one of our winners, for one of our finalists. So
at some point we'll find a way to share it, but I just did an analysis of historically the entire history of the competition, and the outcomes of those companies, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, damn, it's impressive. And I don't know if that's taking credit for that, but solely it is reflective of how dynamic the ecosystem is, and how supporting startups has really created tremendous impact across the industry, and for investors. I mean, billions, literally billions of dollars of value creation over the years through the companies that have come through that ecosystem. So it's pretty cool.
Some of which we'll talk about later today. So let's get into it.
Yep,
So
let's get into it.
Some of those companies, but let's start. Let's start with start with this article that you found that I hadn't. The first one. Just let's just go there because you mentioned it, and even if it's not a product feature launch, I haven't even had a chance to look at the link.
the new one. Well, okay. So the new behavioral data firm Tenetic. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Basically, kind of the brain trust from the old NPD group. John Bremer, Bill Engel, Bill Levitt, Kathy Love, Darren Pearson, John Rose, Karen Schoenbart, Chris Wilson, and of course, kind of funded by Todd Johnson. What's interesting is that they are combining. I believe what they're combining is survey data off of Civic Science, because Todd is on the board of Civic Science, combined with behavioral data, and producing a new measurement solution. So they are integrating large-scale consumer survey data from Civic Science with extensive behavioral and purchasing data, which of course is what NPD did a lot of. They have derived hundreds of millions of responses across hundreds of premium digital publishers, and they will be producing a new set of analytics to try and with AI to understand real business outcomes. So anyway, hats off. These are folks who have been in the industry forever, and they certainly know what the heck they're doing. I mean, folks, these are heavy hitter researchers that have built really successful businesses in the past, and combining those solutions for this new synthesized, using AI to synthesize multiple data points to produce new business outcomes. There's there's that. We also other news. There's a lot, so we're going to go through.
Well, let's just give people a framework, so they can follow along with us. So that's sort of like new firm, right? New firm launch. The next few that we're going to talk about are partnerships or acquisitions, and then we'll get into some product. There were a ton of new product feature launches from established companies. So we'll kind of start with big pictures about companies doing what companies are doing, and then we'll get into how companies are evolving and innovating, because I think that's just that framework. So our good friends at Ipsos, right?
Good friend Ipsos. Buying our good friends at BVA, the BVA family. So BVA primarily, not only, but they do have a behavioral framework to do a lot of package testing. So and large in Europe. What was interesting is I also saw Ipsos doing a webinar this week on synthetic sample for pack testing. So it's interesting that we see Ipsos kind of doubling down on the kind of traditional pack testing provider solutions through BVA, while also lean into the future as well. I absolutely have no insight into this, particularly from kind of not talking to anybody, but I suspect that what we're seeing is Ipsos continuing to kind of make bets on the future, consolidating traditional businesses and bringing them in and transform them through their overall bets on future solutions. So
and if they're tapping into the the behavioral expertise of BVA, which wasn't a BVA Nudge. Or is BVA Nudge Division?
Yes, it was Nudge Division. Yep.
Yes. So every time they've spoken at one of our events, they bring really strong thought leadership to the stage in this space. So I think it's great that Ipsos is kind of building on their solid expertise in this space with these talks. So let's hope that acquisition fully goes through, and we'll see great things from them. But another acquisition. WPP has bought InfoSum. I don't know InfoSum. We've talked about WPP before, but it's in support of AI-driven marketing innovation with Group M. So there's a lot happening in that one statement right there. Like there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, well, InfoSum was probably an oversimplification, but a data aggregation and synthesis platform for multiple data sources tied to like DSPs and those type of things around advertising.
Yep.
So WPP obviously is which they've been doing for years to an extent. So now they're doing it more.
Yeah.
Very interesting that they acquire InfoSum as they are divesting of Kantar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say the difference there is InfoSum is a pure data solutions company, where Kantar is more focused on data collection.
Yeah.
So I think that's just indicative of where where advertising is, where their heads are, is data driven personalized advertising. A platform like InfoSum can help deliver on that.
Yeah.
The iSpot, Circana, and Paramount, outcomes at scale for always on sales measurement, another deal. iSpot TV, which obviously does a whole lot of work around media measurement. Circana, which is purchase data fundamentally, right? The old IRI group, and Paramount, a large media platform. Combining those things to try and get to attribution, as they said, to outcomes at scale. They are trying to get to you were exposed to this ad, you made this purchase. Here's where the ad was exposed on, the Paramount system or platform. Really tying that to attribution.
Well, and I want to connect it to this next story that caught my eye also, because I think there's a bigger picture here, and I haven't, I want to pull these threads together with you, because this is where my head was. So all of this is pointing us towards a new model for advertising in general, or new ways of advertising and new ways to measure advertising effectiveness.
Yep.
And the innovation in this space is going to be really interesting to watch. Now, we've already kind of transitioned to some of this space, but Roblox announced this past week that they're introducing rewarded ads to pay players. Now, it's not like you earn cash playing solitaire. It's not that, right? Which is all the buzz right now, the meme. But it is in-game rewards for watching the ads. So suddenly we're empowering the ad viewers to be like, I'm watching this and I'll get maybe I'll get something, a new feature in my
whatever that currency is.
Whatever that currency, like I keep thinking of, like, if I was playing Fortnite, I might get a new skin, or if I'm playing like Rocket League, I might get a new car, or if I'm in Minecraft, I might get new tools. I don't know Roblox very well personally, but the idea that I'm getting a reward for watching the ads, isn't it interesting that we're going to move to a place where we're actually going to compensate people for doing the work we need them to do? And isn't there something about this that makes you think, like, of course people should be rewarded for their time if they're engaging with an ad, just like they should be rewarded if they're engaging their time for a survey. It is putting value on individuals who we've collected data from somewhat passively, and yet they are valuable to us. So I think, anyway, that's where my head was going with all of this. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly it. It's moving them away from being the product to being partners. Which is certainly a topic near and dear to my heart. And there'll be, I suspect, they didn't call this out, but I would be shocked if there was not an assessment component for some subpopulation. What did you think of that ad?
Yes, there has to be some of that, right?
Yes, and the data to drive personalization. I mean, it's creating a virtuous cycle ecosystem across the board, so they can deliver better ads to the players within, and Roblox is huge. Also a public company. I'm sure this is a monetization engine for the company as well as for their players.
Because they're talking about these immersive ads, the billboards you might find as you're navigating through the virtual environment. Like, we do get all of that, but the ability for these virtual spaces to not just deliver up ads, but then get some feedback on ads, and actually make people feel that their opinions are valuable and they're even just their presence engaging with an ad is valuable. I just feel like it seems like such a respectful thing to do opportunistically in these new immersive ad environments. I just think it's cool and good progress.
Yes, it's far better than the display ads in free games or social platforms.
Yeah.
Which just a traditional advertising model. But it can be such a better experience overall. So hats off to Roblox, or Roblox, or
cool.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it either. But
I
always think of that as kind of like, Minecraft for adults. But
speaking of which, it's a big Minecraft weekend. So shout out to everybody who's going to go see the Minecraft movie this weekend. I know 2 of my 3 children are getting together to not only go to McDonald's to get the Minecraft Happy Meal. These are adults. These are adults. Mind you, they are all adult children going to get the Minecraft Happy Meal before they go see the Minecraft movie together, because it's a big deal. So I don't know that I'll be going, but hats off to everybody who is. Are you going?
It's not a firm plan yet, but the kids are certainly, especially my son, who's a big Minecraft fan, is bugging me. Dad, we need to go see that. So I'm sure we're going to wind up there at some point. But
so
all right,
all right. Let's get back into so many of our partners are doing some amazing things. And speaking of people in the competition, I think so. Remesh entered the competition at one point, right? Do I have that right?
The winner of the competition.
They were a winner of the competition. So
absolutely.
So here they go, innovating again. Remesh introducing Remesh Video for enhanced qualitative research. So. May not be new to the industry, but it's new for them.
Yep. In full disclosure, I am an advisor to Remesh. This Remesh is always they were the first AI. They used AI to do text-based qual at scale. Now they're introducing video, and that's just it's important. And so hats off to them to continue 10 years in to continue to innovate and do those things. So
real quick, for those of you listening who might have heard the innovation story of Swiffer. I was just talking with somebody about this yesterday over coffee. I don't know, the Swiffer story where it's like they were watching hours and hours of ethnographies, and then it just took one moment where somebody saw, a woman take a wet paper towel and wipe off like the final bit of dust off the floor, and that's supposedly the moment that triggered the idea. Now imagine if you have and it took hours of watching videos. Now imagine how much quicker that innovation could have come to light had the AI, if you upload all this video to AI and the AI says, here's an interesting behavior that's outside of the patterns I've seen. I just think that's really where the power of video and AI are going to come, is the video picking up on things if innovation is your desired outcome, which it always was in the work that I did. But
and for P&G, cool, I mean, that was I remember, 15 years ago, P&G, they had invested in a company called 24 True, and they were in basically they're putting all of the video across everything they ever did in one place. The problem was unlocking the analytics at scale. So, and yes, to your point, we have that now. And for a company like P&G or any CPG company that really values kind of ethnographic, walking in the, in qualitative solutions, massive.
Massive. So anyways, hats off to them. So, speaking of companies that are leaning into a qual space, Recollective. Which, by the way, you've also, I
am also an advisor of Recollective. It's purely coincidental.
But Recollective adding automatic translations to enhance global research. So what's cool about this, even Tim last night got off a phone call where they have translation, AI translation now in some video calls that they're doing, internally. So his boss, who speaks French, could speak in his language, and Tim can hear it in English, and it's pretty cool. So this and I have earbuds that, I could put them in, and as long as I'm, working on the app, it'll do the same thing. Like somebody might be speaking a different language and I'm hearing it in another. So this is such a great unlock for our world, let alone for this platform. Anybody who's doing international research, anybody who needs to have conversations with people, qualitative interviews with people who might not speak your language. Like there's a great unlock happening here. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah, totally agree. And to automate that, I mean, the Rock Hopper days, our claim to fame was international online B2B research.
Yeah.
And we did that really well. It was also really expensive, primarily because of translations, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just such a challenge. So to do that automatically at scale on these platforms, yes, just a huge efficiency and cost savings to do that. So yes, hats off to them.
Yeah.
Also with AI, our friends at OvationMR.
And also with Qual, right? So OvationMR introducing AI moderator for Qual in EthOS. EthOS is the name of the
they bought it from CMAX Solari, ethnographic platform. So,
yeah. What's interesting about this one is, AI-driven moderation. Yep, we've had like qualitative chatbots. We've had this concept, but what they talk about that's interesting is the first time someone's really talking about it is training the AI to moderator training. So it's more than just asking questions or probing. It's actually some moderator training to how to because what a moderator has always offered is the ability to say, that's something I want to probe on. Like the discernment in the moment of this is something that I want to probe on. And so what I'm intrigued by and don't know enough about, but would like to know more about is, okay, what type of moderator training is happening with this AI? Is it everything? It's not just asking open-ended questions, right? If it's how to identify what path to go down, that's different. That's a type of critical thinking that I didn't know we were ready for. So I really want to see that moderator training going into this platform. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. That's we're probably not far from, building your own individual persona. I mean, I've talked about this. I've built that for kind of writing, a AI that writes in my voice and does a pretty good job. It's kind of the same thing, a step further. So interesting.
Interesting and check it out because that's pretty cool. So
now these next three, I think that the throughput here and why I found them is that they're companies that are playing a more expansive role in the tech stack within organizations. They're combining insights with connections to customer experience or user experience or even marketing, optimization and delivery and operations. So that's something we need to pay attention to, right?
Rattle through what these three are because not everyone's looking at our brief.
Fullstory launches AI agent powered tools for digital experience optimization. So it's from behavioral data, focused more on CX and EX, but that's a company that kind of sits outside of the traditional research space, but yet is powering, really qualitative research capabilities embedded across an enterprise in a different way than just kind of the more siloed research approach. So that was one. The other's reviews, and reviews has been around for quite some time. Actually, they were in the competition at one point. Their AI-driven action hub for unified consumer intelligence. And they're more focused on voice consumer data, but they're driving it directly into marketing, sales, and operations. So, they're taking this component, and their main focus is on customer reviews, as they would kind of indicate, through both kind of direct and social feeds. But driving that into the organization where it can be most useful instead of being kind of stuck in a PowerPoint slide, and then source table, interesting, AI enhanced spreadsheet for democratized data analysis. They raised 4.3 million in funding, and it's a whole new way to make data analysis accessible to everybody. So it's just very interesting seeing this diffusion of insights throughout the enterprise, and these companies are powering that.
Yeah, and the Fullstory launch, for those of you who are still curious about how AI agents are playing out, check out that article because that'll allow your head to start to wrangle what that looks like, right? Because we're taking that, customer experience or employee experience information, and we are making things happen based on some of the behavioral data that we have. So it really anyway. So that's one of those threads that you and I have talked about before. Is the agent the action items that an agent and an agent AI is allowing to happen. And that'll come up. I had the privilege of interviewing Ali Enriquez from Qualtrics yesterday for our podcast. And, we talked a bit about agents. And then I had another fabulous individual that I was speaking to about AI agents and how more and more we're going to start to see use cases for these and how they're actually taking place in organizations. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was helping a client with a press release yesterday on their, that's coming. I won't spoil it, but on their incorporation of agents into their platform to do things.
To do the things.
Yes.
So, all right. So if you're still a little in the dark about some of this stuff, I do think that we'll just hit, in the last 5 minutes, just a few of these tech developments, in particular with learning about AI. And OpenAI launched the OpenAI Academy this week for kind of your AI education. So it's education platform that's open source, go in, learn. So it's a great move as things are getting really competitive with, OpenAI and Claude and the other, aggregates and Copilot and all of these LLM generative AI platforms that are trying to become your new best friend or your best coworker. They have now launched their education platforms. So it is a smart move to educate your users or educate your slow to adopt or potential new users, but check it out because there's some great stuff. And we're officially at that place where it's like, if you don't have these skills, you're behind already, right? You're behind. So if you're lagging, and chances are our audience is not because of the very nature that they're here, but if you are, get yourself some education, start to pay attention to all of the things so that you can immerse yourself in the knowledge. So
well, we have some data on that at the very end. So
cool.
So with the Amazon, the Amazon's AI can now purchase products from other sites. That's an agentic application.
That's an agentic application. And I think that's an important one because it shows you a new behavior in the future, right? Yes. That is very relatable to anybody who shops on Amazon.
Right.
So if you haven't been able to wrangle AI agents in the workplace, like check it out for you on a personal level. Like, oh, wait a minute, this is interesting.
Well, and so it didn't make it in the news, but this weekend, the whole TikTok thing, Amazon entered a bid to acquire TikTok US, and that was. So look it up, right? We don't need to post a link, but because reading the article that I read was interesting. You've talked about this. TikTok is also a shopping platform, right? Sure, increasingly. So what happens when Amazon owns TikTok, and now they're enabling purchasing outside of Amazon?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
what happens might be that they do really well. So you
right.
Because here we have this article about Amazon surpassing Walmart in revenue. And it's like, oh, okay. Like I see what's happening here. 80% of Americans would consider shopping on Amazon, reinforcing its marketing dominance, which is, the kind of AI generated summary for the story that we had found. But it used to be like kind of Walmart here in the US, Walmart kind of owned retail dominance, right? Like, it's a big deal. Oh, that's a very long link. Sorry, Carly. But the reality that, Amazon is going to surpass Walmart and especially because, now we're so tapped into Walmart Data Ventures as sort of our partners. It's like, oh, interesting. But Amazon Web Services kicking some ass.
Just for a minute, we have one before we get to this last piece, because that's worth just kind of digging into, because there are a couple things. So there's that piece of Amazon buying TikTok that's there, but it also goes right back to what our conversation about Roblox, the data to do personalized marketing and attribution. That's been a theme running through all of this. They would own that ecosystem. Now Walmart, we know they own Walmart Data Ventures and Scintilla, and they are increasingly leaning into leveraging data to drive personalized results. So would we see Walmart buy, I don't know, Instagram. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe.
Or to launch something of their own that way. And you roll into all of that. Amazon is also a huge investor in Claude.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe so
Yeah.
they're building, that AI. They have this training set. We saw the whole XAI and X merger for the X data as a training set. Would we see a Walmart do something to get that training data as well, to keep enhancing and building those agents? All of that is absolutely, we could see those things happen.
And I think what's important to call out, and the reason why these things get on our radar and stay on our radar, is because there's a big picture that some of these smart thinkers at both Walmart and Amazon are seeing, which is changing buyer behaviors and changing consumer needs, and that the benefit of connecting dots at that level also of what might we do to kind of shore up our future in this industry and stay relevant and not get obsolete and not get there's a lot that these things are indicative of big picture strategy for these very large retailers.
Yes.
Hopefully it's inspiring to some not as large retailers out there as well.
Right. And there will be companies to go back all the way through that fit into the tech stack to help enable it, right? And so last, when we end with this.
It's a good.
Yeah, they released. They've been doing this 2 years now. Their global study on AI market research. That's all they focus on. So, for instance, Grit, we touch on some of these topics, but we don't go into the depth that the MRI does. Ray Pointer touched on some of these topics, right? But this is just focused on that. It's download the report. It's not that deep. As far as it's not that long. It's not like Grit. So
Understood. But the title of it is AI in Focus 2025. So it's basically a snapshot of where we are right now with our AI adoption in the industry. I haven't read it yet. Have you? Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, I have. It is adoption is increasing. We're seeing that significant. Still kind of tools focused. Also increasing fear. So increase in adoption. And it seems like there's a corollary that the more you use these tools, the more you realize, oh crap, right? What about me? But this flip side of that is also forcing people to rethink what is the value that we deliver, instead of being task, function oriented, instead of being more. So if anything unlocks this thing we've always thought was going to happen, the technology would shift us into more strategic roles. It does appear to be that AI is the technology that has potential to do that, and is certainly making people think along those lines. So anyway, good. It's a good report. Download it, and that kind of ties all of this together thematically.
Yeah. And I do want to share. I just had a conversation with a speaker who's going to join us at Europe in a plenary spot, and they will be talking about this, about basically don't be afraid, like recognize who you are called to be as a new professional in
Absolutely.
this, and it's going to be one of those kind of inspiring plenary talks, which is just all about like, who are we called to be at this moment in time, which is, thank you, Carly.
Yes, yes.
Unexpected plug for Europe. Can I show it? There I go. Yeah. For our Europe event, which is, on the horizon, but, we are being summoned to rise to the challenge that we find ourselves in. And it is time we all rise.
I have shared about my journey with all of this, and I'll tell you, this weekend I have a lot that I need to get done, and I am looking forward to utilizing my AI friends to accomplish the logistical components of it.
But it's not just that. What I'm talking about is not just you and I, right?
Right, but the strategy.
Yeah, this is somebody, another podcast episode that'll launch with Kalindi Mehdi from Estee Lauder, who has now said 70% of her work as a global insights professional is now in the world of AI. And, granted, it's Estee Lauder. Spoiler alert, this podcast episode is one you don't want to miss, because it is 70% of her job is now AI. She couldn't have predicted this. This is where she has to live as, a lead insights professional. That's significant. So if you want to get to those higher levels in our field at this point, and you are on the brand side, you are, a working executive on the corporate side of our ecosystem. Shore up these skills, because it's everything. It's not just our individual use cases. It is your corporate use cases.
Yes.
And we just got to keep talking about all of that at all of our events, which we're doing.
Absolutely. And my point on that was, and we'll culminate on this, is that I was already a consultant. I was afraid of devaluing because of this thing. We think about money, right? Hours, et cetera, time. That's not the value creation. The value creation is impact. And the tools are just a way to help us deliver more impact. I encourage everybody to think along those lines, right? It's about delivering the impact. These tools just help us get there faster. And I fully embrace that. And I know that's what brands are doing as well.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, because remember, what was it? Not even a year ago, probably, we were saying how brands were waiting. Brands are not waiting anymore. That's done.
Yeah,
brands are like, oh yeah, we're on board now. So pretty cool.
All right. Well, we did it. We crammed in almost twice
pretty good.
the amount of content we usually do. So
yeah. So have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy Minecraft if you are going to see it.
Yeah.
Have fun with AI if you're playing, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.